Brad checking in here for a couple of words of encouragement as we continue on our treasure hunt. Checking out Proverbs chapter 13 today. So I know today was church, it was spring ahead. Kind of cool though, it's 7:48 and it's not fully dark outside. So that's kind of a neat thing. But hey, wanted to check in from Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13, such a great chapter. Again, one of these things with Proverbs is there's so many nuggets of wisdom. It's almost like we can get lost in them. Like they're just, throwing so many things at you at once. And one of the things I would encourage you to do as we're on this treasure hunt, don't get overwhelmed by the change of topics or the rush of information. Don't get too bogged down and going, wow, there was 17 different lessons that I could learn from Proverbs chapter 13. Instead, what I like to do when I read the book of Proverbs is simply go, okay, God, what lesson do you have for me today? What proverb is going to jump out or stick out to me the most? And so as I read through 13, there's definitely conversation about disciplining our children, making sure we're training them well so that they don't wander when they're old. There's lessons in there about financial wisdom of, dishonest money is going to dwindle away, but he who gathers a little by little makes his money grow. Those are all good. But the one that just really I can't seem to get away from these days, and maybe it's because my kids are teenagers, maybe it's just the life that we're in, is Proverbs 13:20. It simply says this: he who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Man, what a true statement. Who we walk with, who we spend time with, who we're around, who we hang out with, the time, the conversations, the places we go, and the people that we go to those places with, ultimately are going to determine who we become. Right? They just have that influence. They have that way of shaping us, molding us, building us, of encouraging us up or of tearing us down. Just got done with parenting class here at church and talking about how important friendships are for our kids, of making sure that they don't have their friends that are liabilities aren't the ones that they're trying to become like, and instead making sure that they have friends who are assets, who are encouraging them and helping them. Not that we're not friendly to all kids, not that we don't want our kids to be in relationship with other kids and help them out and be kind to everyone. But at the end of the day, we all know, if you were to think back in your life, you could definitely describe your friends that you've had in your life as assets or liabilities. Man, this guy really brought me down. Hey, this girl really built me up. This was a good friend. This was a bad friend. Boy, that friendship really cost me a lot in life. Or that friendship really saved me from a lot of trouble. He who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harms. I know I shared this illustration in church, but Michael Jr. is a Christian comedian. I would invite you to Google him if you need just some entertainment. Look him up on YouTube. He's hilarious. But he was asked a question about how he lets his daughters date or not date his teenage daughters. And so he said one of the things they have to do is the guys have to interview with him before they're able to date the daughter. And so he said this one boy came over and Michael Jr. asked him, he said, hey, so spiritually speaking, where's my daughter at? And the guy had no idea, he had no clue. And the guy's like, I think your daughter's like an 8. And Michael Jr.'s like, cool, 8's a good score, 8 out of 10, like she's pretty faithful, he thinks pretty highly of her spiritual walk. And he said, so what about you? He said, what do you think you are? And he's like, I'm probably a 5. And Michael Jr. was like, cool. So get this. If you're a basketball player and you're an 8, that's pretty good. You're a good basketball player. He says, what happens if you play against a basketball player who's a 5? And the guy's like, well, you don't get better. Your game gets worse. And Michael Jr.'s like, right. And he said, so you're not going to be dating my daughter, because he wanted the right people around her. He wanted people that would encourage her and help her. The same is true in our lives. He who walks with the wise grows wise. Companion of fools suffers harm. We love everyone. We extend kindness at every opportunity. We don't treat anyone poorly. We don't judge, condemn, or crucify anyone. At the same time, we get to control who we're around. We get to choose our walking partners. And if we choose wisely, we grow wiser. If we choose foolishly, we become more foolish. That's good treasure. That's a good treasure that God gives us. And that applies to us when we're 10 or 20 or 25 or much older than that. He who walks with the wise grows wise. Hope you all have a super great night. Keep checking out Treasure Hunt each night as we go through the book of Proverbs, and let's keep applying God's lessons to our life and learn what we can from them. Love y'all. Peace out. Deuces.